Today we are going to take a look at a revolver from Heritage Arms, specifically their new gun for every promise line of revolvers. And they have one model that really caught my eye, but more on that later. Before we get into it, I want to remind you that if you like firearms and freedom, then make sure you hit subscribe, so you can be notified every time something new comes out, because that is what we are about here. Firearms, news, reviews, and all things Second Amendment. So again, make sure you hit subscribe, and let's get into this video. So this is the new line of revolvers called A Gun for Every Promise from Heritage Rough and Ready Arms. They have 3 different guns in this lineup. All 3 feature stainless steel frames, cylinders, and barrels. The guns come with 2 different grips, one made out of G10, which is an extremely tough synthetic material, and the other grip is a real nice wood set of grips. Each gun has a fiber optic front sight with a white or rear sight. They also come with a nice little fabric carrying case with some extra stuff inside of it. There are 3 models that they offer in this lineup. First is the 38 Special, which is available in a 2-inch barrel length, or a 4-inch barrel length. Both the 2-inch and the 4-inch versions come with fixed sights. Then there is the 357 Magnum version, which is only offered in the 4-inch barrel length. The 357 has a tapered barrel and adjustable sights, so you have a ramp front sight and a fully adjustable rear sight as well. And they even included a very nice set of target grips with the 357. Now all 3 of these guns are basically the same gun minus the caliber change and the barrel length. So the majority of the parts are interchangeable between all 3 guns. So if you wanted to, you could purchase one of each. You could keep the good sights on the 357 and put the fixed sights on the 38 Special guns. Theoretically, you could build 9 different combinations with the 3 different guns. Now I don't know if Heritage sells parts for the general public yet, but maybe they will in the future. But even if they don't, just think how easy it would be to repair any of these guns because everything is basically the same. So if you broke a crane on one of them, you could literally swap it with the crane from one of your other guns and be back in business. So this is great for the consumer. If you buy one of these guns, you are getting way more than just a gun. You're getting a platform. All 3 of these guns come with a single action-only trigger, which is always nice. It's nice when it comes to target shooting because the trigger pull is very light and crisp. These guns do not offer any form of a safety. Instead, they come with an internal firing pin block, which works to prevent the firing pin from dropping and causing the gun to discharge if it were dropped. One thing that I was impressed with on these guns was the trigger. Trigger on these guns is very light and it's really nice and crisp. There's no creep at all. They also have a nice long reset, which makes it easier to shoot accurately, because you know exactly where the trigger is going to be when it resets. Overall, I was very impressed with the trigger on these guns. The fit and finish on these guns is pretty basic, but it's good enough. There isn't any sharp edges anywhere, and the fit of the frame to the barrel, as well as the barrel to the cylinder, is tight. But it's obvious that these guns are designed for function over form, and that's okay. I mean, this is a workhorse of a gun. This is meant to be used for defensive purposes and for fun at the range. So the fit and finish isn't super important. On the 357, the cylinder latch is on the left side of the gun, while on the 38 Special, it's located on the right side. Aside from that, the guns are exactly the same. Now let's talk about the sights. Like I said earlier, the 357 has adjustable sights and the 38 Special guns have fixed sights. And that being the case, I wanted to see how accurate these guns are. So we went to the range and shot them. I found that the 38 Special with the 2-inch barrel was incredibly accurate. It was the most accurate of the bunch. It shot low and to the left of the bullseye. But that is to be expected because it is a 38 Special, and it is a 2-inch barrel. Also, the fiber optic front sight helps it to be more accurate, because you can pick up that front sight really quickly and get rounds on target fast. That being said, the 38 Special with the 4-inch barrel was still really good, just not quite as good as the 2-inch version. I do want to know if that S because the barrel is longer, or if it S because the front sight was a little bit taller. I didn't really take the time to measure the height of the front sight on both of those guns, but I will say that the 4-inch barrel was definitely less accurate than the 2-inch barrel, but it was still good enough. The 357, on the other hand, was a different story altogether. It wasn't as accurate as the 38 Special guns, but that is to be expected, because the 357 Magnum is much more powerful than a 38 Special. Because of this, it shoots high and to the right of the bullseye. To combat this, You could adjust the rear sights to shoot the bullet where you want it to go, but I didn't have time to do that during this particular range session. So that's why it's shooting high and to the right there. Now the 357 also has a much heavier double-action trigger pull, wherein the reason that it has a heavier trigger pull is because the gun is designed to be able to withstand the immense pressure that is generated by the 357 Magnum cartridge. If you load these guns with 38 special ammunition, the 38 special will function perfectly fine in both the 2-inch and the 4-inch guns. However, I wouldn't recommend doing that because the cylinder gap on these guns is really big. If you're using a 357 Magnum, that cylinder gap is less of an issue because the pressure is pushing against the forcing cone instead of behind the cylinder, so there's less blowback. But if you use the 38 special in these guns, then that cylinder gap becomes a bigger issue, so you'll get more blowback. And if you get more blowback, then there is a greater chance that the primer on the next round could be struck by hot gas, causing it to discharge prematurely. So yes, you technically could run 38 special through these guns, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would stick with 357 Magnum and the 357 and 38 special and the 38 special. As far as recoil goes, the 2-inch 38 special had the least amount of felt recoil. Then the 4-inch 38 special was a little bit more than the 2-inch, obviously, but it was still very manageable. And then the 357 was definitely the worst of the bunch, but not bad enough to where you couldn't handle it. Definitely still very manageable. So now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about what really caught my eye about this gun. So like I said in the beginning of this video, there are 3 guns in this lineup. Well, I only received 2 of them for review, the 2-inch 38 special and the 4-inch 357 Magnum. What I really wish I had in my hands was the 4-inch 38 special with the adjustable sights because now that I've shot this gun, I really want it. The combination of the fixed sights on the 38 special with the longer barrel would make it a tack driver. I mean, we already know that the 38 special with the 2-inch barrel is incredibly accurate, so I can only imagine how much more accurate it would be with the longer barrel. Plus, you would have the adjustable sights, so you could really dial that gun in. I mean, just think about it. You would have a 4-inch barreled 38 special with adjustable sights. It would make a fantastic concealed carry gun, or a fantastic gun for home defense. Plus, you'd have the option of using 357 Magnum ammunition if you needed to. So it's very versatile. If you're interested in picking up one of these guns, you should expect to pay around $429 depending on where you go and depending on what caliber you get. Overall, I think that this is a good gun for the money. The only thing I do not like is the fact that you can't get the 4-inch version of the 38 special. But again, maybe down the road, Heritage will start selling individual parts to the general public. If they do, then we could solve that problem fairly easily. Thanks for watching. This is your host. And as always, we will see you in the next video.